French President Emmanuel Macron is in the US, looking to get on the same page as the country's new leader. Barely a month in office, US President Donald Trump has upset the balance of long-standing international relations, engaging in peace talks directly with Russia about the war in Ukraine, without the involvement of Kyiv or Europe. But after their in-person meeting, Macron is more optimistic about working together for peace in Ukraine.
Et je veux vous dire combien, après ces échanges avec le président Trump, je suis convaincu qu'il y a un chemin. Nous avons partagé nos convictions, nos exigences. Nous savons tout le travail qui reste à faire. Et donc, dans les prochaines semaines, nous avancerons ensemble et nous aurons l'occasion, nos équipes puis nous, de nous revoir dans des formats différents pour faire de cette paix solide, durable, je l'espère avec beaucoup de force.
Both leaders say they want peace for Ukraine, despite differing on how to achieve that. Macron is pushing for a truce to be in effect before negotiations involving all stakeholders take place, including Ukraine and Europe, while Trump is shifting Washington more closely to Russia, suggesting Ukraine would have to give up territory to end the conflict. The US president has also attacked his Ukrainian counterpart, calling him a dictator and accusing him of starting the conflict despite Russia invading Ukraine in 2022. After speaking with Macron, Trump reiterated he wants a quick end to the conflict.
It's time to end this bloodletting and restore peace, and I think we're going to do it. We've had some great conversations, including with Russia. Great job.
Thank you.
Despite the amicable front, there were some cracks. Once firmly on the same side, the two countries visibly disagreed on the cost of helping Ukraine defend itself from Russian aggression. Trump has falsely claimed Ukraine owes the US $500 billion and wants that returned in access to rare minerals, claiming that Europe is being paid back for what it's put into Ukraine's defense, a claim Macron corrected.
Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money, to be clear. We have 230 billion frozen assets in Europe, Russian assets, but this is not as a collateral of a loan, because this is not our belonging. So they are frozen.
The disagreement was also clear at the UN, with the US siding with Russia in another major turnaround on its stance on Moscow's invasion. It voted against a UN resolution urging Russia to withdraw from Ukraine, alongside North Korea and Moscow. Despite that, the two leaders in Washington did find some common ground. Trump backed Macron's proposal to deploy peacekeeping troops in Ukraine once a deal is struck, and the US president said he believes Putin will also agree to that. This comes at a pivotal time in the conflict, with Ukraine marking 3 years since Russia invaded. In Kyiv, President Volodymyr Zelensky gathered support for Ukraine's cause, meeting with more than a dozen visiting world leaders.
We must do everything in our power to enable Ukraine to secure a just and lasting peace, a peace that cannot be achieved without Ukrainians at the table. That is precisely what Canada is focused on. Canada has been a steadfast, unshakable partner to Ukraine since the beginning, and that will never, ever change.
Ukraine will be high on the agenda when another one of its European allies, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, visits Trump in Washington in the coming days. More high-level talks as Europe attempts to find consensus over the conflict in Ukraine. Eason, Herel, Hughes and Rosie Grenenger for TaiwanPlus.